I have this client who's been a long-term client, and I totally love that he wants to keep getting involved in other businesses, and he's passionate about the idea of seeing things grow and like expand, and then not just stopping at one, but moving on to like 10 other ventures. Like he's got a clothing store, he's, a biochemical startup, but his bread and butter experience is in construction. So now he's merged with someone, or they're attempting to merge, but they don't have all the details spelled out for how this is going to work. And before he started putting up money, we had a look at their accounts and how they were managing things. And I'm like, I literally cannot give you good information based on what's here. And it was a very flat, straight conversation. It's like awareness of how they were operating was not going to lead to you being able to be successful until you put in some more data points that actually make sense for a construction business so that you can actually check your benchmarks and make sure you're on track. So for 6 months, I've been hearing him complain all about how I don't understand why we don't seem to be making money. And then when I go and look and I'm like, that's because they're still taking more money than anything is coming in. So any profit that they're having, they're like, I don't understand how there can be profit. I'm like, if you're distributing assets from the company, you'll never see that on your profit and loss, ever. You'll never see it there. It exists on your balance sheet. But if I see your $100,000 profit and you think you should be getting your bills paid from that, or at least being able to pay yourself at all, because right now he's not, okay? But the other guys are, because they're taking it out of the company. And again, it's not from anything malicious. It's literally just how they've always done things, and that's how they know how to live. Hey, there's money here. Let me take it to fund my life, without thinking about who they owe, what they have in the pipeline, what work they're going to need to fulfill on, even though they keep signing work. So again, if you're basically scaling your sales with zero admin background or operations that make sense, you're never going to know exactly where you're at and what you can do. Like, you won't be able to make decisions that make sense. And then you get into this situation where he feels like he's fronting all this money and basically taking on their debt essentially while getting nothing out of it. And that's not fair to him, and it's not fair to these guys. Like, they're really just, and it's not from a malicious place, it's legitimately, they just don't know that they're doing this. But I can only keep screaming into the void so long before I lose my mind. And literally every week we have some variation of this conversation about, like, but I don't understand. Why is it like this? I'm like, dude, I told you why it's like this. I was very clear. You need to get some of this information flat so you can make better decisions and, actually see where you're at and how you can grow. I did figure out exactly who took what. So I know how much money went out of the company so that they can kind of get on even footing, because that is what they did agree on, is that they were kind of going to pool resources and then figure out how to make sure all of these partners got paid. Like, well, there also has to be money there for any of you to get paid. If you're not taking any and everybody else is taking some, who's left holding the bag? You. So of course you're frustrated. And this is a venture that's already done $1 million in business in their first quarter of the year. And if there's only 3 partners and you're doing $3-4 million a year, it should be easily enough to support them, especially when they work with mostly contracted labor and have fixed costs. It shouldn't be difficult to make money. But they're making it difficult because they're not putting in good inputs in a way that can allow you to make logical conclusions. Like, you wouldn't necessarily go out and buy a new, $50,000 piece of equipment if you have no clue how you're going to pay for it, or how it's going to get paid for. Am I going to have the cash flow for this? What other obligations do I have? Oh, we have this other loan we have to pay off. None of that information is available to them. We've been doing this massive cleanup project that I'm sort of intuitively taking on to help right this kind of wobbly ship they're on, so that they can all start to make money and feel good about it. Because right now it's like, would I rather live in the absolute chaos? Seems like you do, because it's been 6 months and nothing is different. But you're really upset now, aren't you? And you don't need to be. It's very simple. Can make the changes and we can get good info, and you guys, I guarantee, will make money in the long run. And what's funny is I did out of nowhere start to get a little bit of info, like little drips and drabs, and I was like, oh look, behavior changes. And he's like, yeah, that's because I told them we're on a slow march to bankruptcy. I'm like, you actually are if you don't make these changes. And it's that simple. So stop talking shit, get it together, and then worry about where you're going to go on vacation instead with all your money that you made. Okay, so to get started on turning things around and getting better cash flow into your business, click the link for my $27 course, which is currently limited time price, and master your construction draw process and make sure you get paid in days instead of months.